From the wealth of primary English ICT resources out there on the market, on today's Resource Review ICT Special, we're going to be looking at three very different ones. They are a digital movie camera for budding filmmakers, a multimodal writing kit, and a drag-and-drop spelling activity. Recommending today's resources, we have Sally Craig. Sally is a hands-on support manager and AST at Shirley Warren Primary School in Southampton. On the panel today is Adrienne Jones, a freelance education consultant, and Jackie Rogers, Year 2 teacher and ICT coordinator at Rosendale Primary School in Dulwich. Now, over in the test lab, Matthew Tosh, our resident ICT investigator, will be putting the resources through their paces. So, Sally, let's begin then with your first choice of resource. It's from Digital Blue, and it's their Movie Creator 2. Tell me about this resource and why you like it.
I like it. It's a very simple point-and-shoot camera. It's very durable. The children are completely excited by it, completely switched on by it. It's great, but so are the adults that are working with them. And if I press record here, we're now recording. It's very simple, and if we zoom round...
There's Jackie and Adrienne. Great.
Very simple. So we can immediately edit it, and it's literally drag and drop in, and then play.
Now, I can see you could have lots of fun and make entire television programmes with it almost, but what's this got to do with primary English?
Writing needs to be brought alive for many children, and the camera can be used for all different genres. We've used it for narrative, I've used it for retelling Macbeth, I've used it in play script writing. And there's so many nuances about setting the scene of the text, setting the characters up, and the children need to have that brought to life.
Well, before we go any further, let's go over to Matthew and see how he gets on with this resource.
The Digital Blue Digital Movie Creator includes a video editing package and a handheld camera. Now, the camera is really easy to use. Essentially, it's a point-and-click device, and you operate it just by pressing this green button here. Well, to download video to the computer, it uses a USB interface, and I just need to plug the camera in like this, and the computer automatically detects the movies in the camera memory. Now, to download them, I just need to click on the tick. We'll just wait for it to download, and I'll take you to the editing window. And you can see I've got a project already underway. Now, I want to add a clip to this from my library, and the clip I want to add is this one here. I'll just drag it down to the bar there. I can preview clips using this magnifying button here, but I just want to go straight into editing with this one. Now, to chop and change clips, I can just click on this tool down here and use the slider to cut the beginning of my clip, and the slider here I can trim down the end of it as well. Now, I'll just play the beginning of that just to check. All in all, the software is simple. Well, I'm happy with that, so we'll close this. We're nearly done, actually. The box between each of the clips is the transition box, so I can change the transition effect. We'll put that one there. There's a special effects button here, and you can add things like aliens leaping across the screen or exploding fireballs. You can also import AVI video, music and sound effects, and even add text. Unfortunately, I don't have time to show you those today. What I do have time to show you is my finished clip, and it's just about to finish, so let's see what we've got.
The camera has two resolution settings. At the moment, we're recording in the high resolution setting, and now we're recording in the low resolution setting. All in all, the software is simple to use. On that note, I'll hand you back to Hermione.
Well, Sally, I can certainly see that this could be an excellent resource, but in order to have enough of your pupils really getting hands-on, you would have to invest in quite a few of these handsets.
They're quite a cheap resource, so if you're only talking of 6 for a class, the actual value that they get back, you know, I would say it was very much money well spent.
OK, thank you, Sally. Well, Jackie, you've actually trialled this resource in your classroom. How did it go down?
They're great. It encourages that sort of independence of learning, but at the same time, the sort of collaborative effort. So the speaking and listening that goes on is absolutely fantastic. We always base our literacy at the moment on books, and so we've just been doing We're Going on a Bear Hunt. And so one of the things that we did not so long ago is we got the children to go in each group, and they had to reenact a part from We're Going on a Bear Hunt, and then we played it back to the class, and the rest of the class had to guess what part it was.
And did the camera live up to its expectations? I mean, was it robust enough for your...
Oh, it's definitely
ones?
robust. They're seemingly indestructible. I've seen these go through sand pits, into water trays, and still come up. And as ICT coordinator, you know, that's quite a worry at first of all.
Yeah, you don't have to be replacing
They're
them.
great, they're great.
OK. Well, Adrienne, what do you think of this resource?
Well, given the fact that children learn visually particularly well, and they are living in a visual society where communication is really important, it allows children to communicate with each other. You know, they work in a group, they have to make decisions, then evaluate when they're actually editing, and all of that contributes to speaking and listening activities. There was one school that I went into where some Year 2 children had been looking at their use of "and" when they were joining sentences together, and they were filming each other and almost having a little competition to see who could not use the word "and."
Just one final comment from you, Sally. Is this something that could be used with many different age groups?
Absolutely. I mean, we've seen it being used widely in Key Stage 1. The school that I work at, we use it mostly at the moment in Key Stage 2, and it promotes from the reading the visual images, to inference, to deduction, on through to stimulating the writing. I think it's excellent.
Well, that was a very popular resource. Now let's move on to Sally's second choice of resource, and it's called the Multimodal Writing Kit. What is this resource, Sally, and why do you like it?
I love it from the moment I saw it. I first saw it at a primary strategy conference, and it was shared with us as a way of bringing writing alive. It can be used for reading, it can be used for speaking and listening, and it can be used for writing.
It's a free resource, completely
It's a completely free resource that you can access.
So what do you actually get? What actually is this resource?
Well, the resource itself is a range of files, PowerPoint files, Word files, etc. So you have a kit, and it's all about 3 areas. You can adopt it, so you can take it exactly as it is, use it for shared reading, use it for whole class work, guided reading, or you can adapt it, so children can take the story, change the text, and then obviously you can create with it. You can give children a story, a familiar tale, rush off with a camera, drop the video in and create their own story using such a template. This is one that some of my children did at school last year. They've completely changed the story, they've dropped their text in. I haven't even marked this one, look. We fought. Keep going, and this child were rather like aliens. They've dropped all the images in.
Well, I mean, Sally, you've shown us so much of it. I mean, there seems to be a lot to this resource. But before we go any further, let's go over to Matthew and see what he makes of it.
There are several desktop presentation packages out there which will allow you to combine media with text, and the Multimodal Writing Kit uses PowerPoint to achieve this. If I show you what we've got, the main element of the kit is a true multimedia presentation, a multimodal presentation, because it doesn't just combine text with images, it has sound and video as well. To show you a bit more, let's have a look at the presentation. And if you click onto the next slide, you have a choice of going left and right. Now, don't get too excited, it's not a choose your own adventure. In essence, what you're seeing here is the views that the character would see in the story. And if you continue, then you get to more video and the story continues like that. So you get the idea. Now that's the multimodal bit. Included with this, there are some texts, so you can have a look at the story without all the video footage, and this could be useful for maybe a comparison exercise. There's also younger versions of the text and also the interactive text as well. Now, in case you're wondering how to use these, there are some teacher's notes, and it's well worth having a look at these because it could give you some ideas for lesson plans. And also included this is a blank presentation. It's just got the video footage in and the sound effects, so children can have a go at creating their own story ideas just based on what they see and hear. There's plenty of scope for creativity here, and you could even add your own videos or children's own videos to the presentation.
Well, Jackie, how did you use it in your classroom, and what did you think of it?
Well, we just adopted it, and we started off using it as shared reading, and from that then the children went off to write their own suspense stories. But I have to say we found it a little bit too wordy.
Right.
Bearing in mind I was in a Year 3 class trying it out, even with the younger text, that was what put them off the most. Having said that, they absolutely loved the pictures and got a lot of ideas from that. That sort of generated a lot of role play opportunities and a lot of chat. And from that they sort of did generate some quite good stories. What we would probably do with something like this now is sort of take these ideas but turn it into a a story that the children will be more familiar with and find locations they'd be more familiar with. So it's sort of something that we could go on now to adapt and create for our own.
Adrienne, what are your thoughts?
Well, I wanted to ask really about whether it's a model for teachers to follow, whether it's something that teachers can use to develop their own ideas in the same way that you, Sally, showed us some different ICT applications, and you'd used it as a text with pictures. So it's like a book in that sense. But I'm not sure quite where it sits in terms of resources for teachers.
Well, I mean, I'd like to think that for teachers it's a scaffolding. You know, it's giving teachers an example of what can be reached. So what this actually does, it brings together the reading of visual and media, moving pictures, with actually having the text alongside it.
Well, Sally, now let's move on to your third choice of resource. It's Spelling Year 2, Term 1. It's a free website. Tell us what the website is and why you like it.
Basically what it is, it's word level work, and it's looking around some of the rules of spelling. So in this case, the particular one we've brought up is words ending with a single consonant. So let's see what happens to sit when we bring it over to the white box.
Right,
Sit becomes sitting, so we double the consonant again. But it's incredibly easy to make. Now, I'm certainly not advocating that a teacher standing at the front and doing something as uninteractive as this. What I would suggest is that children pick this resource up and they go away and investigate their own spelling rules.
Right, OK. Well, over here, quick comments from the panel. Jackie, what do you think of this as a resource?
Well, I did use it as a teacher standing at the front because I've got a Year 2 class and I think it's slightly too difficult for them to be able to make their own. But they all had individual whiteboards and it was great because they really enjoyed it because, you know, we could say, right, OK, so what should this word turn into? Well, let's see if you're right. So somebody can come up, drag it over, see if they're right or not. Right. So that's good. I have one little niggle with it. People not punctuating their work properly. That should be let''s.
Let us check. Adrienne?
Well, the comment really would be that there are lots of free websites available, and it's just really a little warning that teachers do need to check quite well before, you know, to really think about how they might use it and not just think that it's about teaching from the front, but it's adapting it, it's being flexible with it.
OK, well, I'm afraid that's all we've got time for today. But just to recap, the three resources that we've looked at are the Digital Blue Digital Movie Creator 2, supplied by Virtual School Consultancy,
the Multimodal Writing Kit, part of the Keys to Learning in Literacy and Mathematics DVD from DFES Publications,
and Spelling Year 2 Term 1 from the National Whiteboard Network. For more information about the resources featured today, go to our website. It's teachers.tv/resource review, or if you want to, email us, resourcereview@teachers.tv. I'd like to say a very big thank you to our panel, to Sally, to Jackie and to Adrienne. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Resource Review. Bye-bye.